listen to that. That's more like it. I'm back. As you can see, I'm on StreamYard. Did not pay for that other one yet. One of the reasons the other one limits you to 6 hours of streaming, even with the paid version. StreamYard lets you go for 12. So that alone might be a reason to keep StreamYard. So it looks like a bunch of stuff happened. So let me take a look at the news first. I don't know much about it. I'm only just now pulling up the details, but there was another attempt on Trump, which worries me. Again, these are random crazy people, but this one seems to be politically. The guy was very into politics. Um, the Houthis from Yemen just fired missiles into central Israel. Russia is striking Ukraine. So all kind of stuff happening and still happening. I guess it's still happening. All of this stuff has happened. These are becoming just normal. This is our normal landscape right now. Um, I don't have a lot to say about the Trump news because I don't know enough about it. Um, so I think I'll just let it come up in conversation. I did want to do a couple of things. I remember yesterday I was supposed to read that Emerson quote and I forgot. So I finally found it, and I want to I want to give you two quotes today that I think address very eloquently my objection to DEI and all this other shoddy pseudo soft science that the left rests their dogma on. And when I say dogma, I mean dogma because Washington State, their document that the state put out with the official state seal, calls it an undeniable reality. So they're the ones coming out of the gate with it as dogma. All right. We were talking about the individual versus the group. That's one of my objections. I think the emphasis, if you want to know people, if you want to connect with people, if you want to form community with people and integrate people, if you want to develop people, if you want to plan policy, even I would say focusing on the individual is going to give you a superior outcome than focusing on the group in any of those areas. So my objections are largely epistemological. I think the focus leaves a lot out, as does Emerson, and I think the method itself is epistemologically inferior. All right, so here's Emerson. It's from his journals back around 1845-ish, I guess. He says this is my objection to identity politics, to Jeff as white man instead of Jeff as Jeff. It is the largest part of a man that is not inventoried. He has many innumerable parts. He is social, professional, political, sectarian, literary, and of this or that set and corporation. There we get that classification into characteristics. What group do you belong to? But after the most exhausting census has been made, there remains as much more which no tongue can tell. And this remainder is that which interests us. This is that which the preacher and the poet and the musician speak to. This is that which the strong genius works upon, the region of destiny, of aspiration, of the unknown. That's the individual. That's the self. That's what America was founded from and to support. So if you're focusing on the social, professional, political, sectarian, etc., this or that set or corporation, if you're focusing on somebody's surface characteristics, whatever they may be, I see that as a reduction. It's a reduction from a fuller, wholer individual self to something less salient to individuality, and which is skin color, race, gender, sex, demographic, region, etc., religion. Um, so I don't know what they're studying when they have all these studies with these charts and graphs and disparities. I don't know what they're studying. They're not studying this individual that Emerson describes, and that is what I'm interested in. The other quote I'm going to give you is from William Blake, and it's my epistemological objection to wokeness and DEI. I think it's I think it's low res. I think it gives you a shallow view of reality, not a more nuanced, expanded view of reality. Okay, Blake says, "What is general nature? Is there such a thing? What is general knowledge? Is there such a thing? Strictly speaking, all knowledge is particular. To generalize is to be an idiot. To particularize is the alone distinction of merit. General knowledges are those knowledges that idiots possess." I think what the woke give us, or what DEI gives us, is general knowledge. It's not knowledge that's particularized in any way that's useful to me as knowledge. Um, no, I'm back on StreamYard. I already feel more comfortable, more at home, like back home. There were some things I liked about the other one, but one of the main things I did not like is that you can only stream for 6 hours, even on the paid version. And I'm gonna need way more than 6 hours. I don't want to have to like be starting and stopping the stream. Um, okay. So there's that. Oh, let me put the link. It is open panel. All right, and I guess I should mention the troll game as well that we have going on. I think I'm going to run it in the background today because I'm so happy to have my banner back. Um, but how it works is Liliana's putting together a collection of trolls that I think she's going to hand recruit and hand train. So if you're interested, get with her. And then people can use super chats to inject different trolls into the conversation and troll a panelist they don't like or troll the whole panel. And so we're gonna see how that works. I tried that EvMux. Hey Jeff. It was okay. The audio was better. I like the green room feature. I like the little green lines that you could put around the stuff. Let me see if StreamYard has anything like that. Theme? No. Color? Yeah, StreamYard seems kind of basic compared to all their toys, but they give me a more consistent experience that I'm looking for. So I may end up paying the for it rich. I'm just trying to pay my rent if I could even pull that off. Oh, right, there is a $2 troll credit. Also, Liliana will come up and answer questions for Super Chat, like one question per, one answer per chat, per question. Yeah, this. This is what I'm trying to learn. Um, oh, you have. Oh, yeah, Kane, let me know because, in fact, let me pull it up. Um, I saw it somewhere. And then there's another service I was going to try called Lightstream. which seemed it was very basic, but it also seemed to do all the things it need to do. But then when I it didn't work on my browser. When I tried to click the tab to change the graphics and stuff, it would go blank. Like everything would disappear. And so I don't know what's going on with that, but it's possible I may try that one out if I could get it to work. It sure is, Zaddy. It sure is. All right, let's see this. It says no monthly limit. Stream up to 6 hours each live. So each you can only have because what Streamyard does is hey Sam, it on YouTube after 12 hours. It's kind of a YouTube thing. Um, you can still stream, but it won't capture it anymore on YouTube. So to get YouTube to continue to capture it, you have to stop the stream and restart it. And FMux, I guess, has a 6 hour limit where they actually cut your stream off. No, I am not. I have a theory that we're all trans. We're all going to be trans, so I'm prepared for that. I'm Schrodinger's trans. Under the current paradigm, no, I'm not transgender. Under the paradigm that's all coming to us, yes, of course, we're transgender. What are you talking about? That's like asking if you're human or transhuman. Um, but this I want to point out is the daddy Baphomet, the man Baphomet. See those pecs? Um, Not the transgender Baphomet. This Baphomet does not eat babies at all. It eats ramen noodles and frozen pizza. Let's get him up there. All right. So in the meantime, I have all my shit from StreamYard back, and okay, Zaddy, you're gonna get yourself escorted out of here. Hey, Doug, what's up? Um, oh, I did have some tweets. I guess I can go through. Oh, damn. Let's see. Hang on. Focus. Oh, right. Okay. Liliana, he was auditioning. See, I'm not used to this yet. That's good. We might have a but you have to be willing to come on panel and troll panelists. Yeah, I do. It does have dark mode. Let me see where I found it. Because I'm in dark mode right now. Uh, it's up in under my account in the top right corner on the main StreamYard page, like under your account settings. There's an option that says switch to light mode. I love dark mode. I put all my stuff in dark mode mostly. Dark power. Oh. All right, let me see what tweets I have. If you're on the left and think only the left has good ideas and only the right has bad ideas, you're dumb. If you're on the right and think only the right has good ideas and only the left has bad ideas, you're also dumb. As an enlightened centrist, I think I can endorse that. All right, here's one on Satanism from Magus Peter H. Gilmore. This is really good for me to remember because this really does kind of reflect Satanism. Because Satanism is intended to respect reality, at least rational Satanism, my version, as it is and not as anyone thinks it should be, that's basically the scientific approach. It usually does not take long for a truly aware Satanist to set aside politics in favor of direct personal efforts for selfish goals. And I would just replace that with self-development goals. They don't have to be selfish. Um, that's kind of where I'm at now with this election. I haven't been paying much attention to the political stuff, and I'm prepared for a pretty independent 4 years, regardless of who wins. Um, just kind of doing my own thing, which is what I've already been doing. Oh yeah, this thing. Okay, y'all. Did somebody grew up with Norman Rockwell? Do y'all remember Norman Rockwell? He had those wholesome family paintings. Sometimes you'd go to the doctors or the dentist, they'd have Norman Rockwell paintings hanging in the offices. At least it seemed like ours did. They were you could see them in public. I don't know a single person that didn't like Norman Rockwell. My grandma even had some Norman Rockwell prints, I think. Um, well, guess what? It's not going to be a surprise. Y'all can probably imagine in this day and age, 2024, guess what he is? Or guess what we are for even being into him? You guessed it. Racist. Not only racist, fascist. Look, most of Rockwell's work is almost, if not outright, propagandistic. I'd argue, I keep seeing this word a lot. Arguably, or you could argue, or I would argue, like they're making a scientific claim when they say that. That's just code for this, in my opinion, or my impression. There's actually elements of fascism in there, like references to an always receding glorious past that he's saying Norman Rockwell is intentionally putting in there, not that he's inferring based on his own experiences. And racial monotony so severe it looks like a satire today. Let's look at some of these racist paintings. Oh my God! Look how white this old lady is. She's about one of the whitest. She has whiteness glowing off of her. Look at all that nod to a glorious, racially monotonous past. Thanksgiving dinner. Look at this fascism, the military. People that think in terms of fascism are always going to see any military as fascist. Oh my God, it has the American flag. Wait, did y'all catch this? Look. It has the flag. That's scary. And it has dates on it. 1861. Look at this fascist police officer trying to scare and intimidate this little kid at the soda fountain. And I wanted to, even in my generation, we must have lost these because nobody walked around with a hobo bag on a stick. But I guess they were popular in the racist, monotonous days. um. Oh, hang on. All right. So yes, Norman Rockwell. If you have white guilt, you should be feeling it over Norman Rockwell. He is now racist. And this guy says, I think it would be better. Oh, they're talking about the how immigration is racist, the racism of immigration. And I agree with this tweet. I think it would be better for the sake of communication to call this what it probably is, xenophobia. I suspect many of the people flipping out about immigration more broadly have people they like in those same populations, the difference being they are assimilated. I've said before, just like with the racism stuff. Oh, I see y'all in the back. 1 second. Just like with the racism stuff, it's more cultural, tribalistic than it is actually about skin color. Okay, I'm going to bring on these two, and we will see if they can all
What's
stay in
up?
the canoe
What's
at the
going
same
on?
time, and we make it to the island together. What's up?
What's
Hey,
going on?
Jeff. Hey, Mike.
What's
Hey,
up?
Wombat. 18%, is that, has that gone up or down from last time?
Down.
That's
I'm
lower.
I'm rejecting the idea that it's 100%.
Okay, that I think that's healthy. This is the the
Yeah,
the
move
softer,
in the right direction. Yeah,
newer, softer Wombat.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, on those Norman Rockwell, things like clearly they're like the romantic or romanticism art movement. It's an idealized um,
Well,
scene
isn't
that's
all
been
art to a
painted.
degree, unless it's a
not
photograph it, even
necessarily.
that.
Yeah, I mean, not abstract art isn't, but
I mean,
there's
I don't think he was trying to
Mhm.
portray reality. I think it was.
correct. And art, yeah,
I'm,
doesn't.
I'm trying to see when he was active. Oh,
And I
the
think,
Saturday Evening Post. That's right. He painted for
yeah,
that
yeah.
magazine. Um,
And I think when that guy who posted when he said, I'd argue, to me that doesn't mean he's making a somewhat scientific claim. I think he's just saying, for me, when I see that, they're open to, it's a debatable thing. He's not stating
but
it
I,
as
I
fact.
assume they at least halfway take it seriously enough to float it as a
Yeah,
possibility.
that he
So
can
when
make
I
an
hear I
argument.
argue, I think they believe it. Like in their mind, they've at least persuaded themselves that it's a probability.
Plausible. Yeah. Yep. I'd agree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess we're
Um,
supposed to be like the perceived notion of like perfect Americana, perfect, the Thanksgiving with the big turkey and the cop counseling the kid that was, I guess the kid was supposed to be like a runaway. That's why he had the hobo bag.
I mean, we had
Yeah,
all that. Like, what
yeah.
was bad? That's suddenly bad. It's
No, no, no. I'm saying, but I think it was just like almost like him trying to show like the fairy tale that we always thought life was going to be. It's like but life's not like that. Life's complicated. But in his paintings, everything is just
But
perfect.
it also is like that. Like people did
Yeah,
sit around innocently at the
sure.
table, like these people, and the
Yeah,
lady served the turkey, and so in a lot of ways, life kind of was like that, or many people
yeah.
aspired
for a
for
Because
lot
their
of
that would
life
people,
to
it
be
was.
like that.
Yeah.
have been like in the 40s, right? Back then.
Yeah, it looks like 20s up to like World War II
Yeah,
ish. He was popular,
it's a
probably after.
whole different way of life back then. I wish I would have been able
Yeah.
But
to
that's what
live
I'm
that
not
way.
seeing though. What was so he to me he painted innocent little slices of life, and just is it the fact? And in fact, didn't he paint the school desegregation, that little painting of the black girl? Let's see. But just because the people all had white skin, people are taking a certain message from it that makes the painting somehow less,
Yeah.
somehow something other than they actually were. To me,
Yeah,
which is just paintings.
I mean that's what he
Jeff, I
wanted
wanted
to.
to talk about DEI uh, for a little bit
You're
because I
in
have
the
a
right
different
channel. Yeah,
experience with it.
Norman Rockwell. Look, this very famous painting, real quick. Speaking of DEI, yeah, didn't he paint her? The girl, little black girl trying to go to school. So
Mm.
how's that racist? Unless he was you think he's mocking her?
No, I don't think so.
So yes, DEI.
Yeah. So I think, I've seen you've referenced that thing from Washington State a few times or a couple of times.
Yeah,
And
they have a whole department
yeah, I
on it.
agree. It is very dogmatic and unfortunately worded. Have you experienced training? Hey, Tommy, have you experienced training from the state? Like, are they implementing it that way, or I haven't had
Well,
any
they had to
state.
they had to cancel it when they tried it on the 911 responders.
Uh,
They had to
wow.
suspend it and retool it because
Yeah.
they were coming away with the message that they were all racist, and they didn't really take that kindly
Uh,
because they spend all their days answering 911 calls and
yeah.
helping everybody regardless of skin color. Hey, Tommy. But
Hey, what's up?
I had a friend during COVID, during 2020, that got hired, and she during her orientation training, they separated them into a black caucus and a white caucus. So they put them in different classrooms and they trained them differently, and she got an exemption for it, and she was able to get out of it.
Mm.
So, but I lost my job just before COVID, so all of the trainings I was part of was before Biden's equity order. And I remember trainings on pronouns and trainings on the concept of equity. They showed the little equity baseball game picture, but it didn't have meaning. It wasn't tied into this larger narrative of people being
Yeah.
racist. And it was like etiquette. Like if you're working with a trans person, they really like it when you use their pronouns. So it was
Right.
put that way. And so
Yeah.
it didn't like really stick on my brain as anything to worry about until
Yeah.
2020, and then that's when I went back and retroactively realized what some of that stuff was. But it wasn't
Yeah.
presented as forcefully and dogmatically as it is since
Got
2020.
it.
Hey, Tommy.
I think I had some DEI training maybe 5 years ago in a corporate environment, and what I
Like a
took,
couple of days of it.
oh no, 4 hours or
Oh, not
maybe
even.
like half a day or a day. Yeah. Um, and I've had a lot. I've had trainings that were a lot dumber, like technical
Than the
trainings.
DEI one.
But my takeaway from it was like I didn't get it. The message I took away was not that you make assumptions about a person's values, experiences, and beliefs based on the color of the skin. I didn't get like make assumptions. It what I got from it was a team of people will perform better if they have a diverse range of views, experiences, beliefs, um, values.
Did you get the idea that that was tied to skin color somehow? Like the diversity of
So
experiences
n-
was.
not directly, no. I mean, well, but I believe that two white people are more likely to have not necessarily like you can't assume it, but they're more likely to have similar beliefs and
How is
values
that not a
than a black
bias?
person.
How is that not a bias about two white people?
Because the reality is, we live in a society where people of a certain skin color will experience life differently. They're going to have different experiences. We don't live in a utopia where
I think
everyone's
that's also a
colorblind.
bias. I know plenty of black people that didn't have, like, in my generation, all the black people and white people grew up together and had more or less the same experiences, the same movies, the same stations, radio songs, etc.
Same
It
treatment
was
by
the 80s.
police.
Things were a little more culturally unified. Do what?
They have the same treatment by police though, and things like that.
Well, I'm not sure because I don't know about the criminal sector. I don't have a direct,
Yeah,
like the
like
criminals I knew. Most of the criminals I knew were white.
when they
The
talk about
criminals that I came into
systematic,
contact with.
like when they talk about systematic racism, I think they talk about like that type of thing, the way
They
cops
keep making it
profile.
up. They keep changing it every time they
Yeah,
talk
and then
about it,
they
which
change
tells
it,
me
and
they
then
don't
they
really know. They're not talking about anything too concrete.
change it to employment. But then when they put affirmative action, you know what I mean? They put affirmative action in at some point. So
Well, Washington State says that it's
you
an
know,
entire system of white supremacy, white dominant culture, patriarchy, oppression, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And this is
Are they
encoded.
saying white supremacy, or
Yes,
are
this is in their
you
state document. I went
editorializing?
over it on
wow,
that stream
Wow.
in detail. They
white
use those and
Yeah.
supremacy.
privilege, and they use all of those words, and
Yeah.
they use it in the paragraph that opens with with the phrase "undeniable reality." So they're telling you that
You can't
this is
you can't
reality.
question it.
You
Yeah.
cannot question it, and this
Question it.
is the official state
Yeah.
position on it, and you have to be trained in all of this stuff. So then they're
Yeah.
wondering why the firefighters are all walk it off of the training.
Yeah. Is redlining racist? Oh, sorry, was if we go back to 20,
If it was
40 years.
policy, like if they were doing it because the policies themselves said if someone's from this neighborhood, don't
Yes,
give
I
them
think
the
that's the way
loan.
it worked.
And it was
Yeah.
more the way I understand it was more neighborhood. It was more like
Yeah,
from a
exactly.
business perspective, these are the neighborhoods that it's not profitable to give loans to. So even then, the racism to me is ambiguous.
I agree because they're doing it based on where you live, which is kind of and race can be a proxy for that, right?
Yeah, but I
But
think if you're using race as a proxy for that, you're not exactly being overly concerned about reality. You're taking
yeah,
a shortcut for some reason, and you're
yeah,
using race to do that. So you've already moved one step away from reality
yeah,
and your
and I think
concerns.
systematic, systemic racism and that it. What I wonder, from that is, does it have to be malicious, or is it any unfair
Then
discrimination
you can
or
police
unjust?
anybody for anything. Because to me, people that are racist know that they're racist. They're intentionally being like trying to exclude black people. They're
Yeah,
intentionally like throwing away the resume that has the black name because they read the name and they're like, oh, that's a black person. Like, I don't know how you
Yeah.
can accidentally do all that kind of stuff.
You don't
Well,
think there's
systems.
closet racists, like people that,
Like, they
yeah,
know
like,
they're racist, but they
well,
hide it.
people that have prejudices in their minds, but they don't necessarily voice them.
Or
But
unconscious
they know
bias.
that, like, they're
Yeah.
aware of how they feel when a certain group is around or something. They have to at least be
It can be
aware of
Yeah,
some
but
kind of negative response to know they that they feel a
I
certain way
don't
about that
think
group.
they have to be aware of it. I think unconscious bias is a real thing.
I don't
that's what I
see how
mean.
you
Like,
cannot be like to even be aware of the bias. You have to be aware of some reaction in yourself that's different when that group or person is around than when they're not. So all of that takes it into consciousness at that second.
well, I just meant like the way like sometimes, certain people are quiet, but they won't buy from a certain person, or they won't.
And people have the right to do that in America, sure. But
Yeah,
in 2024, honestly, how many Americans
not a
do you
lot.
think are like that after
Not a lot.
all the decades of
That was no.
TV
I
shows and
understand.
movies and black people get along and like it? But they're not like strange savages right out the jungle to us anymore. We've been living with black people for centuries now. Like to think that white people still see them as this mysterious other that
I
they have
mean,
this bias toward, that we haven't been desensitized from living together as long as we have.
and it's not just black people. Like, I mean, every culture. Like,
Well, what I'm told
you know,
recently by some of the people from that side is that black in particular, because that's the one with the like starkest amount of dysteria. So
yeah.
if you don't emphasize the black, then you're underserving them somehow. So that's why the focus is black, black, black. But then I thought the trans had displaced the black on the oppression pyramid.
Kind of did too. It
And
seemed
then the
it. It seemed like
Palestinians
it.
came along and displaced the trans, but I think they managed to somehow
So
recover
what do you,
their
what do you
territory,
think
which is
the
very rare in the world of the woke.
so what do you think the outcome's going to be? What's going to be the outcome, the turning point? I mean, is this all for we're
Hunger
going to change
Games.
the world? I mean, what is this all for? To
The
get
outcome
more
of what?
awareness? Is it to get more awareness of different kinds of people and lifestyles, or is it just basically them trying to reel you into you have to believe what they believe?
Yeah,
Because
it's indoctrination into a
yeah,
narrative
yeah. Because
under
there
the
are people
guise of science.
Yeah.
But science,
yeah,
no science I know tells you something is an undeniable reality.
Yeah.
That's not how science works.
yeah.
I think so. That might be true for like Washington State, like the state government. I don't think that's true of all DEI like initiatives and the way people implement it.
Well, at the very least, it provides an example of the
Oh,
extremes that
but
it could
yeah,
get to
sure,
if.
absolutely, yeah. Jeff, on the unconscious bias thing, I think yeah, you mentioned they have to be aware or conscious of something, right, for it to affect someone's
Like some kind
behavior.
of
So
displeasure. You have to know
no,
you don't
I don't
like
think so. They
something.
might just see a skin color and then be unconscious, and they may not think they may think they're colorblind, but it may subconsciously
What would an example
affect their
give me? How
actions.
would that work? I'm trying to envision that.
Yeah. Um, in hiring, right? You may believe that skin color doesn't impact hiring, but subconsciously you translate skin color,
But
you're not
how?
even aware
Like
of it,
with
to
the
intelligence or ability to get along with other people.
what's a concrete? So the hiring lady is she has the pile of resumes and she sees one with the weird name, and in her mind she thinks she might like have a slight little thought of, oh, that person's not as intelligent.
Or, oh, that person's not going to be a good fit for the team. That's the sort of, you know,
Um,
they won't be able to work in a team as well.
I have many thoughts on that. One is
Yeah.
that hiring is such a specialized activity. I imagine that they're extra trained on how to avoid stuff like
Uh,
that.
no, I mean,
The second
the
one is,
HR people don't make the hiring decision. The hiring
well,
decision is
in
the
this little thought experiment, it's whoever's making
yeah.
the hiring decision. So if I said HR, and that's not the right
Oh,
person,
sorry,
just
yeah,
switch it to whoever is.
but they
Whoever's
may not have specialized training.
but people are hiring for all kind of reasons in their head. They're looking at at data on candidates and figuring out, and they're going through all kind of different factors that are unique and individual to their situation. Now, a business person would try to hire what's going to be the best asset for their business, but you may have individual owners that just secretly don't want to work around certain people that might think that way. Even if that's the case in some people, I don't think it's the only thing that goes into their thinking, but even if in some people it still is, I I don't think they're very widespread. I think you might have an occasional person here and there that in the back of their mind might see a weird name on a resume, but in 2024 America, that just doesn't seem like the norm. It seems like we've gotten past, like we know that there's plenty of cultures, we know there's plenty of names. It seems like when we're looking through resumes now, we're not as thrown by exotic names, and that's not as much of a factor as it may have been in the past. Even if what you're saying does happen
It
in
doesn't
some
mean it doesn't
situations.
happen. Yeah, yeah. And so it's just a question of, yeah, it's
And how
better
would
than
you
it was
like
in the past, but it still
guard for that?
happens.
And
It's
some
hard.
of
I
this
don't
I
know.
understand is like the
Yeah.
corporations about not wanting to get sued. So they want to make sure that if they do
Yep.
hire someone, that the
Yep.
appearance
They have to
is not
cover their
there.
ass. They have to cover
Yep.
their ass, really,
We would
with
get
all that.
reviews by human resources, and if you had too much of a concentration, like if you had 95% white people in your organization.
That seems racial
Yup.
to me. Like, what if those were the 95 people with the skill set, credentials, expertise that
It's
you need
Maybe
affirmative
for
that's
your
action.
true.
specific?
Yeah. But
And
in
now
a
you
large
have to
organization,
justify, you have to account for your hiring decisions on the basis of race now.
Yeah,
So
you have
but in
to
a large
basically explain
organization using
why.
large numbers, it shouldn't be that skewed from the average.
I would say it depends on the industry. Just like with the male female thing, it depends on the industry. Like some industries are just going to be skewed male due to factors that have nothing to do with
Yeah. No, that's right. Yep.
society.
Yep.
So there could be cultural reasons why black. I was on a Zoom during COVID one time as a choir, and a friend invited us to go see her choir. It was like 50 people on the Zoom, all singing Christmas carols, and every single one of them was white. And the lady freaked out and she's like, "Oh my God, why did you invite me to this racist Zoom? There are no black people. It's all white people."
Wow.
And my first thought after having spent like 30 seconds on that Zoom watching this choir is that no black person I know is going to be interested in this. The black people I know are not lining up around the block to get into something like
Yeah.
this boring
And
ass choir. It's just not going to
right.
appeal to black people. That's why there's no black people.
Yeah. And it might depend on the source. Like if they're recruiting from a particular church or denomination, all right, that may lean more white, then it's more likely to happen.
It was definitely a white, culturally, it was a white thing. Like, it was definitely not something that any black person I know would have fit
Yeah.
into or been drawn to. Or so
Right.
just that alone, like for cultural reasons alone, it would have been weird to see a large amount of black people in that group.
Got it. Yeah. Same with the gender thing in hiring.
Well,
A
I am
lot of
from
the
the
gender
South.
disparity is explained by only 10% of the applicants are
And
women.
it's how willing people are to see racism as the dominant explanation. Like they see movies like Birth of a Nation, and they think that
Oh, that was
we're
bad.
seconds away from that at any moment in
That was
2024. Like
such a racist movie, but then the KKK produce that movie and put it out.
don't don't
Oh,
look at hip hop videos
Is that
and
true?
black propaganda and make assumptions about black people, but definitely watch racist stuff from 100 years ago and make assumptions about white people of today. So don't do as we do as we say, is what it looks
I,
like to me.
I think Birth
yeah.
of a Nation was KKK propaganda, wasn't it?
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah, I think it was.
stuff like that. Like if someone today said that's racist, it's KKK, and I looked into it, I could
Yeah,
say yes, you're right. That is
yeah.
factual. You're accurate about that. But nothing today is like that. But they try to make it seem
Not
like it
today. I
still
mean,
Yeah,
that was
it's more
back in the
subtle
early.
today.
That was 1900s, early 1900s. So yeah, that was crazy. That was wild. That you can't even
those were
like.
different times, and I think people think
Yeah,
white people are still secretly like that. Like there's something about just being white
Nah,
culturally
I don't see
that's a
that.
value.
Maybe some, Jeff. There's some
There
hateful
are
people out
Yeah.
some,
there,
but the
but
some
not a
is not so
majority. No
big that
way.
the rest. Just like with men, there are some men that are violent, and a lot of the violence
Exactly.
is predominantly men. But that doesn't mean the majority of men are the ones you have to worry about. And so we don't need to be
Exactly.
put under this heightened scrutiny
I think
Exactly.
I
just
think
because of these few men or these few racists.
Yep.
I think racism is taught.
It
It's
is.
it's passed down because when we're
It
I
born,
is.
we're
agree.
not racist. We don't even know what race is.
They,
I
You
they
totally
don't
know,
know
agree with that.
race, gender, orientation, religion, any of that stuff. Babies will
It
just
all
play
gets taught.
with whoever they get a vibe for.
and it's up to that young man or woman to break the cycle and break away from that racism because it's
And
nonsense.
even in my generation, the '70s, most people did. There were the few families. I'm talking two or three, maybe. You knew the ones that were teaching their kids racism because they show up at school, and you
Yep.
could tell it was coming from a particular home,
It's kind of like it's
It
kind of
was
like
obvious,
and it
right,
was
Jeff?
rare. It was
It,
even in my
very
generation, it
rare.
was rare.
It was rare in my generation as well. Very. I
yeah,
barely saw it.
Yeah, same
we
here.
never saw. I never saw. I mean, people would hang out in groups. They would normally assimilate to someone that kind of you like the same things. You kind of look alike. Your families are the same. So
It's
it is.
cultural, like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
group
But as long as
preference.
Yeah.
you could hang with people that make you feel more comfortable. But it's not like you hating people that
Yeah,
don't look like you. It's just sometimes when you're younger, you kind of assimilate towards what you're used to. But I can tell you, growing up where I grew up, it was a melting pot. So you had friends from everywhere, and it was
True.
cool because
you
you
grew up in
learned
New
from other
York.
people. Yeah, I grew up in Queens. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was all different kinds of people, and
Farmer.
you kind of eliminated that hatred because your friends were from all different parts of the world.
Well, because we didn't focus on it, just we it was not
Yeah,
relevant what your background, or what your
Right.
sure.
ethnicity was. It just wasn't. You were accepted into the
Yeah,
group just for
but
being
I can
you. And
see.
now we're told that that hurts people. Like if you don't
Yeah.
notice their race, you're somehow hurting them.
But I can understand that someone that only grows up around a certain kind of people, in other words, white or black or whatever, if you've only ever grew up around those people, it must be scary for some people to try to accept other people different than them. Like I said, our
Yeah.
experiences weren't like that, but I'm not giving sympathy for someone who doesn't want to branch out, but I can see where maybe, possibly, they're afraid to take the leap to
Yeah, it's
learn
a bunch
about
of
something.
sheltered upper
Yeah,
class white people that think the
yeah.
rest of us are as racist as they are. Kane, let me be
Yo.
fair to Wombat. For people, I think he is giving a good faith
Yeah.
consideration to DEI. I think he we've been talking backstage. He's being very thoughtful about it. He's I think he's being very fair about it. And for people that even are remotely sympathetic to it, he is by far not the worst. He's one of the most
Yeah.
reasonable I talk to, and
I've seen.
I think
Yeah.
he sees the dangers of the extreme of it too.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the benefits of having
Farmer.
diverse teams. Like a team of 10 clones of Wombat is, I guarantee you, it's going to perform worse than
I agree,
people with mixed,
but I'm only halfway teasing though,
the un-
because it's cultural though. Like a team of wombats would all come from the same culture.
It's the
It
same
wouldn't necessarily be because of the color of their skin. I would not
right,
fit in with a
exactly.
team of wombats, and I have the same skin color.
That's
I
why I say like beliefs, values, and experiences.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where the
And
diversity
what you
comes
said is
from.
culture. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wombat is his own category there.
Hey,
And
Leggy,
they're in
what's
their own
up?
category. And
Yeah.
people are unique. They really are. When
Check
fa-
that bad boy out we caught today. That calico.
That's from
lobster.
today. Look at
Yeah,
that.
we
What?
caught that lobster.
It's the
Whoa.
Halloween lobster.
That's awesome.
Halloween. That's a big ass lobster.
No, no, it wasn't. That was actually a small lobster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does
It
look
was
kind
a
of tiny.
female. It was a female with eggs. It was notched and it was short. So we
Oh,
couldn't
did
keep
you
it
have to put her
no
back?
matter what we wanted to do. Plus, we wouldn't have kept it anyways because it's a rare lobster.
Oh,
We just kept it to take a picture, then we threw it back.
You're only allowed to take certain kinds of lobster, right?
we can keep anything that is 3 1/4 and larger. That's the head. That's the
How
head
big?
part, not the tail. That's the head. That's and then up to 5 inches, and then after that we gotta throw it back.
They gotta be big. They gotta be.
So if and then if they're a female that has eggs on them, you're supposed to put a V notch in them and throw them back. You can't keep an egger at all, no matter what.
Oh,
And then if it has a V notch in it, you can't keep that one either.
You can only
If
eat
it's
the
a female,
babies.
only if it's a female. It doesn't matter if it's a male. If it's a female, that's only if it's a female. Does it matter? If
Well,
it's
someone
female.
wants to know what's the oldest lobster that you've seen.
the oldest.
So if you look, the oldest one I've seen, if you look at my old page, the leggy from the 207, my avatar for that one, that lobster that's sitting on the crate, that's probably the oldest lobster I've seen, probably.
How do
It
you
was
tell
quite
the age of a lobster?
size, pretty much size.
The eyes.
Shell
Oh,
rot.
size. Okay.
Yeah, how much, I mean, it's fair to say if you get a lobster that's big, it's quite old.
Leggy
Can they?
McStoney.
Can they like? Can they like actually tell exactly? Like
I
exactly?
think they can. I think they
Yeah,
can.
sure.
I mean, I can't, but
I'm curious about it. That's all.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can. They have it down roughly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Do y'all have black people in Maine on the lobster boats?
Yeah.
Okay, just
Of course
checking.
we do.
Brown, like you have all your shades
Just checking.
represented.
Jeff's just
Well,
checking.
I mean, I'm sure we do.
Just checking.
I mean,
Affirmative
around-
action, Jeff.
around here, around here, there's
Hey, yo.
there's a set of brothers.
Black lobsters.
They
How
both
many
have
black
their
lobsters
lobster
do you
license.
have?
I'm just playing.
One's a Marine vet, and the other one he's just a fucking Jamaican. So,
Okay.
but he has his they both have their lobster license, and then one does
Oh,
better than the other. You can decide which one does better. But,
Do you catch more lobsters in forest? Oh no, he was doing shrimp. Never mind.
Bubba lobster.
Bubba
Yeah,
lobster.
no, that was
Don't.
No, there hasn't been a shrimp season in Maine for like 30
Are those
years.
the size boats you go on though? Same size boats?
No, I think shrimp boats. Well, down there they're like Louisiana. I think they're like 70-foot boats, shit like that.
I remember when he
65,
drove it
70 foot.
dock. He jumped off the boat and went into the
The boat
dock.
I'm on is
Hey,
it's 45 by what is it?
He got so
45
excited looking at
45 by
Dan.
17. I think it's 17 wide. So I can.
Yeah, what is the hiring process to be would they let me lobster boat or a trans person?
Yeah.
Would he be able to have his antlers on when he was doing the lobster?
Well, I mean, I suppose he could. We might bust his. We might bust his balls and ask him. Ask him if he's a weirdo or something like that.
You could
but-
try. They do all the
You know,
time. You see what happens.
But you see how it is. As long as you have a good sense of humor and you can take a joke, you're golden.
I like
so-
that audition. I wish all job interviews were that easy.
I mean, look, lobstering. As long as this is what usually the advertisement is. Sternmen want it drug and alcohol free. Like that is
Yeah,
usually
gotta be
There are
so.
and a lot of
questions.
people don't classify marijuana as a drug, so
Oh,
You deal with a lot of
that's
alcoholism
loophole.
in that field. I'm sure you do.
just in general, I mean,
A lot of people
I
drink it.
legit live in the poorest county east of the Mississippi.
Really?
Yeah,
What?
I do believe it's
Huh.
the poorest county east of the Mississippi. Yeah.
More poor than Mississippi
And then
itself.
I do know at one
Is it
point too. At one point, there was more Oxycontin bust in this county than there was anywhere else. At least
So it's
in the
like
state of Maine.
Methville.
Well, it used
or
to be.
Oxyana.
but
like
now
that, yeah.
It's. I call it what is it? Kingston, or is that what it is in Pennsylvania? Kingston or Keniston? or whatever.
Kensington. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call it here in fucking this. Starting to get to that point here, dude. We had some guy try to steal a fucking forklift.
Really?
Like he was all fucked up, dude. All fucked up. He tried to steal a
Right.
forklift and he ran out of propane. That's the only thing that fucking kept him from that, and he got it stuck in the side of the road. So he
Mm,
couldn't put.
I might
Now
have
he
done
drives
something like
around
that
with a
before.
fucking John Deere riding lawnmower and a fucking trailer towing it behind it everywhere. Dude, like
Man.
legit, him, his wife, and his daughter. And his daughter's only like 8 years old. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how the. I don't
I
understand how people
almost
like that
think that
has
could
their
happen
kids.
anywhere in America.
Well, I mean, it can, but I'm just saying, like, it's weird how the culture's changed. Because growing up around here, like, the worst thing you really had to do was somebody would be like, "Hey, you want to smoke a joint?" Every once in a while, you had the hardcore party kids that would be like, "Hey, I got these pills. Do you want to do one?" You know what I mean? That
The
would be it.
pilled
But there was nobody
kids.
around here doing coke or heroin or meth or fucking stardust or fucking pixie dust, bath salts, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like, it just blows my mind now. What a cesspool this fucking area is becoming.
I seen a really good movie on Netflix. It was about Motley Crue. It was called The Devil, I think. Uh,
Oh,
MGK played Tommy Lee as the drummer. It was kind of cool. Cool to see him play
Oh,
that part. He
no,
looks
it
just like
wasn't.
him.
it was like a
It
fiction movie or a
no,
No, it
it
was
was
documentary.
all about
Motley
Motley
Crue. It was
Crue.
called The Dirt. It was called
The
The
Dirt.
Dirt.
I'm sorry. Yes,
The
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 Dirt.
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 The Dirt. It's on
Dirt.
Netflix. It's pretty good. I
Oh
liked it.
yeah, here it is.
It shows the story about Motley Crue and
Huh.
Nikki Sixx's struggle with heroin addiction. They're all of their struggles with drugs in general, but Nikki Sixx especially with the heroin. And it
Oh,
was just a great movie, man.
yeah.
Angel, yes. Supposedly there was another attempt made on him.
I heard
There's
about
no
that.
footage, so we don't
Yeah.
have details. But
Nobody has detail? Okay, all right. I was
They
wondering if he had
ID'd the
details.
person.
Yeah.
I watched the report on who was it? Fox News was doing it. They actually showed the guy. They showed the actually
They
because
arrested him, Mike?
they got him in
Yeah.
yeah,
custody.
they have him, and they
Yeah,
looked into his social media, and they said his politics are all over the place. But he was
yeah.
definitely very into politics,
He's got a long
Wow,
criminal
bro.
record.
and
Spent
something
like
about Tulsi Gabbard. He
This is
was
yeah.
crazy, dude.
He's
We're
he's an yeah, he's an old skinny white guy. He looks like he's
Generation
emaciated,
X,
like he hasn't
probably.
eaten like in a
like a
week.
wabbit.
And how they got him is so Trump is golfing. This is the story says. Trump was golfing, and the Secret Service they always go a hole ahead to secure the area, and they go a hole ahead, and he looks. He looks and he sees a barrel coming out of the bushes. So
Wow.
the Secret Service guy just started opening fire in the
Dude.
direction where this rifle is. So he never fired, but they fired at him,
Yeah.
and then he dropped the rifle, left it there. It was an SKS with a scope on it, so
They
it was a
prevented
sniper.
they prevented him firing.
So, is there some kind of security that keeps people out of bushes while the presidential
That's
candidate is golfing?
crazy,
I guess
dude.
Yeah,
not.
yeah. So it blows my mind that they didn't have people outside the fence as he's going through the
Dude,
course.
2
I
attempts?
wouldn't leave my house for the next 3 months if I was Trump. 2 months.
I mean, dude, third time's the charm. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
We're at
but
some
there's
volatile times right now.
yeah.
I
Volatile.
know it's.
See,
Dude,
I mean,
history
you see what
repeats
shows up on
itself.
the Panoverse,
And
and that's
I
what the guy. I
firmly
looked at like
believe,
videos
like,
of him. He reminds me of somebody off of the Panoverse. He was anti-government. You can't trust government. You got
Like
to
a First
the
Amendment
system.
auditor.
This. He was one of those types that show up on the Panoverse. He even looked like a Panoverse.
I hear that.
hey,
That's
talking about
crazy.
that, what do you guys feel about the Tyreek Hill situation? I haven't talked to nobody really
Who?
about it.
I don't know
What
about that. Talk about it.
Tyreek Hill there, the Miami Dolphins player, where he got arrested outside the stadium because he got
Oh,
pulled
that's a
over
new
for
one too.
going fucking too fast, right? And then he come up and the typical, yeah, do your bullshit, roll your window. Then he rolled his window up, wouldn't roll his
yeah.
window back down. Then he cracked his window. The cop got pissed and yanked him out of the car. And then half the Miami Dolphins stopped. Oh yeah, it turned into a
That
big
Really?
happened
fiasco.
recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last
2 weeks
Sunday.
ago. Yeah.
Oh.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I
Well,
And I'm
never.
like,
apparently there's.
the dude should have just acted right. Fuck. Gave the cop his shit. Stop being a jackass. Shouldn't have been speeding.
A lot of times that stuff can be avoided.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. I guess the cop was a hothead. There was no doubt about the cop didn't act professionally. But on the same token, they didn't know it was Tyreek Hill. They didn't know it was him. And he rolled the window up, and the tint was so dark they could not see inside the car. So that, I guess,
Exactly.
officer safety issue. Tyreek Hill should have just rolled the window down, said, "Hey, here's my license." Took his big ticket because he was speeding through a construction zone. The cop's not going to take him to jail. He'll probably give him a fat $500 ticket, which is a drop in the bucket to him. That ain't nothing to him. But he wanted to act out, and these very famous people just go along with it. All right, whatever. It's not worth his time to get arrested. Now he missed the game. No, did he play? No, he did play. He did play. I think he did play.
He did play.
But
he got out in time.
he did play.
It might
But
not even took.
it was a real stain for the team, but I think it was both of their faults. The cop overreacted and he wasn't
did.
compliant. It was 50-50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, the cop was overreacted way
doubt.
too fast.
No doubt.
Sometimes black, they could be very nervous getting pulled over, and cops, they don't, sometimes it's a lot different for a white person and a black person, depending on the cop. Not all the time, but depending on the cop. And that could have went bad either way,
I was in full uniform once when I was still in the Air Force. I got pulled over, and because the cop said I looked nervous, he destroyed tore the whole inside of my vehicle apart looking for shit. He was like, "I know you have," you know what I mean? It was one of them type deals. And there was fucking nothing. I was just like, then I looked at him and go, "I just don't fucking like cops." And
I'll never know what it's like to get pulled over while black because I'm white.
Of course, he goes, "Well, that's something. How the hell do you word that? Well, that's not awfully nice to say. Somebody in uniform or something like that." And I'm like, I don't really care. I go, "This is why." I go, "You had no reason to search me, but you did."
Well, the good thing, I think the real positive thing is that they have to have the body cameras on every time they pull you over. So, they can say whatever they want to say, but
that's if they
turn them off all the time.
But that's if they have them, dude. You know how I was going through the shit with my neighbor, dude. I asked for the case number so I could get the body cam footage and shit, and I asked the officer the process, and they told me point blank that they don't have any audio or video at all.
Yeah.
Neither not on the cruiser or on them themselves. None. So it's them against you type shit.
Yeah.
Because when the last time they were here and they talked to my neighbor, they were talking about the red flag laws and yellow flag laws. She asked him if there was red flag laws, right? And he was like, "Well, no, we don't. Maine has yellow flag laws," which we've got into before, I believe, Mike, about how they're a little bit less stringent than red flag laws and shit. But the question is, why was she concerned about whether or not Maine had red flag laws? You know what I mean? That's the more alarming question. And then the same officer had to call his sergeant to ask if it was okay for the woman, if she could discharge a firearm in between the two residents. I'm thinking, where the hell is she going to shoot it? There's a main road that way. My house is this way. There's a marsh with a mansion on the point. Then there's a whole sandbar type deal that has a bunch of houses on it and camps and shit, summer camps on it. Where's she going to shoot? She can't shoot anywhere's legal. Any cop should know better than, you know what I mean? That should be a very... And I was just kind of like, how stupid are you? Of course, I'm looking, all I can stare at is his fucking eyebrows, man. The fucking, dude, he had some of the fucking most profound, big fucking, what's it, Eugene Levy. You know how big he had, the fucking big eyebrows? Yeah.
He's the dad from American Pie, right?
Yeah, dude. But
hey, Leggy, I want to ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt you, Leggy. I wanted to ask you a question. What do you call these type of lobsters?
Is that you?
No.
What the heck is that?
Well, I mean,
so,
that would be a rock
spiny.
Lobster. It'd be
rock lobster, yeah.
Or
spiny.
prong. I guess it depends on the size of them.
The spidey.
That's what we eat at Christmas in Australia because it's middle
You
of
ate
summer.
Spideys?
That's an
And so
Australian
we'd have
lobster.
those. Yeah, they just boil them and then you'd have it cold for Christmas dinner.
How many does it feed? Is it
Australian
like a whole
lobster.
family?
Yeah, you could get like 4 servings.
They look like crab
Uh,
legs.
yeah, those legs are
They're like
crazy.
crab
The
legs. Is
tentacle.
it a mix between a crab and a lobster or something?
No, it's just we call it crayfish, but it's
It
Do
almost
you
like
looks
get it
like
in
stuffed
that.
lobster.
freshwater?
That's
That's
cool.
Oh,
saltwater,
that's
right?
the crayfish you were talking about.
That is so funny
Yeah,
looking,
That's very
man.
Right,
different.
Wombat? That's
Spiny.
it's freshwater,
saltwater.
I think.
Spinal.
I'm trying to think where. Yeah, I think they are saltwater.
I'm
Yeah.
dead.
I went out
So it
on a
must be
boat
warm
once.
water. Is it warm water?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, see, that's why. See, we got the cold water. You get the
Yeah.
claws. Now, on really hot days, these motherfuckers will pop their claws and look like that.
How
Yeah.
hot is warm water compared to cold water? Like the degrees. Like what's the difference
Uh,
here? Is it
I
not
think
that
right
much?
now our water is like 50,
50s, 60s?
54 maybe.
Is it
Top.
that low? I thought it'd be in the 60s now. It's only September. Or
Dude,
no,
we
it's
got that.
October.
Dude, we're right on like
Oh,
the Gulf
September.
Stream and shit like that runs right outside of us.
No,
Like,
I know.
so
I
we're
know.
like you've seen videos and I've showed it on lives, Tommy, the weather difference where I
Yeah,
live
no, it's
compared.
colder where you're at. I get it.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. But here's the thing, in the wintertime though, it's actually warmer than it is inland. Like we get less snow.
Less
It's
snow,
more like it's more rain, icy mix when we
cold
get.
rain and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
hate that
Where
too. Yeah.
like if you go up over Hall's Hill, like fucking, which is like 15 miles from here,
It gets cold here too.
it's a whole
But
different
it's
fucking.
colder where you are. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
colder. Yeah. No doubt.
But Leggy, isn't the colder the water, the better the lobster or crab? Like that, it's better if it's the colder
Is
the
that
water.
true? Is
As
that
far as
true,
the
Maggie?
taste go, like
Lobster
they'll
boil.
harden up once that water gets to a certain temperature. The old guy I used to work for doing bait, and he buys and sells lobster. He has a tank house, and he keeps it at 30, 34 degrees, I believe, is what he keeps
Wow.
the water at.
Cold.
Yeah, because he says it's just enough to keep them moving, and it hardens them up really good. Because
Mm.
that cold
Wow.
water, the
Damn.
colder the water, the harder the shell.
That's wild.
Huh.
So
Dude,
The ones in Australia I found are slightly
shellfish are
sweeter
awesome, dude. They're really cool.
than the ones in America, but maybe that's because we eat them cold.
Cold
Yeah.
lobster.
Yep.
Will
You
we
Trying
boil
to
it.
do
forever
the
be able to
butter,
eat
like the.
lobster? Are they ever endangered of going extinct?
well, they
I mean,
say.
could
No
we
butter.
ever run out? I'm wondering.
I mean, it's
Probably not.
plausible. Here's the
Yeah.
thing, though. Here's the thing. They say there's no small lobsters when you like talk to like the surveys and shit. But every time it seems like every day we come up and we get small lobsters. Like when I say small, I mean like tiny little what we call crawfish here. Here, you know what I mean? Them little fucking tiny motherfuckers. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Just like they say there's no shrimp, but in certain times of the year, which I would imagine is during the fishing, if you were fishing for shrimp, would be the peak time to fish for them. There's
Yeah.
fucking shrimp everywhere. Oh, and these are with lobster traps, that have like inch and a half, 2 inch mesh. I mean,
Yeah,
wire.
I don't think we'll ever run out. I mean, yeah, they're always
Yeah, but there
breeding.
hasn't been a shrimping season in Maine for like 30 years.
Well, I mean, maybe we will then. I mean, if just not anytime
They
soon,
do
but
in Canada though.
at some point we'll run out of. I mean, that would be crazy. Imagine that. It'd be hundreds of years, though. I would think.
Well, it all depends on how the area you're fishing and how hard you fish it. Because you talk to fishermen that fish right on the Canadian and the American line, right? And they'll have a trawl that accidentally, and I got the quotations going, right? You'll have that accidentally their trawls will get over that line, and every single trap that's over this imaginary line looks better than all the traps on the American side. Like it's funny. It makes no sense to me. Just like how you can have one troll here, and then you can move X amount of yards this way, and there's nothing, and they're side by side, same area, but there's fucking nothing. But yet this trap here is loaded. This troll, it makes no sense to me, but it is
Do
what
you
it is.
fish in the same way as like on the Deadliest Catch show, like with the cages going under, or are those trawls? Is that what you're talking about?
No, those are
Okay,
just
so it's something different then. Okay.
no. We trolls are like well. When they do their long line, did you see when Jake did the long line fishing there on the
Yeah.
Saga a couple years ago? Where
Yeah.
you have all them traps going out at once. That's essentially trawl fishing. Just imagine the traps being smaller.
Oh, okay.
Like
So it's like
ours are
that
like
then. Okay.
a lot of ours are 2 feet by 5 foot. You know, so which
It's wild.
and
He's
they're
not their rep. We have plenty of Mainers here. Besides, even if he's their rep, he's not a bad rep for Maine.
Hmm. There's a
I got to go
famous
out. Go ahead, Mike.
there's a famous YouTuber. I was watching him because of Leggy because I'm interested in lobster stuff. There's a guy on YouTube and he's a lobster guy in Maine. I'm for the life of me I can't think of the guy's channel name.
You don't
But it's
remember?
just I don't remember. I just I can't even go in and
Oh.
look at it right now because I'm in
what
StreamYard.
the other guy from Maine?
Yeah,
Describe it.
Yeah,
The other
yeah,
he's
lobster
older.
Yeah,
guy.
describe it.
Jacob Knoll.
Yeah.
Is
White
that what it
guy,
is?
white guy
Jacob
on
Knoll.
a
Yes,
yeah.
Jacob Knoll is like, for as far as I'm concerned, he's like
Biggest one?
Top
the
lobster.
biggest one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as I said, rumor is he just hit his first $1 million check from YouTube. I don't
YouTube?
know if it's true.
Wow.
It is
That's
just talk of the
crazy.
town because in reality he doesn't live that far from me. We
Oh,
He
could,
has
really?
2 million
yeah,
subscribers.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
His
yeah,
camera work is
exactly.
very professional, like
Yeah, yeah.
If it's the
Like
same
at
guy,
least TV quality.
he's
he was showing a lobster. He said it was 100 years old. The thing was like freaking enormous.
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, I gotta check
yeah.
that
and,
Like
out.
and he was
Jacob.
told that I
See,
didn't know
here's the
this.
difference. Jacob owns the boat, so
Mm.
Jacob can. So if Jacob wants to say, "Hey guys, we're gonna start this whole process, and I'm gonna make a video," completely okay. Me, on the other hand, I just work the back of the boat, so I gotta pick and choose when I can make videos or when I can't make videos, and when I have service and I don't have service. Like it's all, you know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of shit that plays variables into this shit with me.
He said, and I didn't realize this. He said, so he would take the female, he'd turn it upside down, and you got hundreds and hundreds of eggs on the downside. And
Ooh.
Hundreds. You're talking about thousands, dude.
yeah,
Thousands.
yeah, just
Wow.
Probably ten.
the whole bottom
Probably
just covered.
tens of thousands, and
But he says
10% of them.
only he said
That's a
only
lot.
a very small fraction actually make it.
Yeah, like
So
10%.
yeah,
Oh,
Like
so a lot of
10%
them
of them.
die.
But that's 10% of like 100,
yeah.
100,000 or whatever.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
It's wicked though. The eggs, they look like caviar. Like you flipped it over and it's like all covered in the bottom.
That's how
Yeah,
small they
exactly. I
are?
mean, there's no doubt about it. Jacob said he's the captain and shit, so he runs the
Wow.
operation. So he has the opportunity to make the videos, do them right, and
It's
all that shit.
wild, bro.
Have somebody come on the boat, video, hey, help me make this video while I work. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
No
he
doubt.
has all that. I know
So
Keith,
cool.
the
Yeah, working
Keith,
the work. Yeah.
Keith,
Working the water is
that's his
real peaceful.
stern man, right?
Yeah.
That was in all of his videos initially. I used to be really good friends with him growing up and shit. So yeah.
Hey, Jeff, are you
Yeah.
still there? Jeff disappeared. Probably getting coffee.
Yep. That's pretty dope, man. Pretty freaking dope. Those freaking lobsters are amazing.
I got to go on a boat with my brother when I was like 20 years ago, and it was
Oh,
just a
yeah?
small boat. Yeah, and it was just a small boat, and
What'd you
pretty
do?
small
Crabbing,
pots.
lobstering, or what?
No lobsters,
Oh, lobsters.
and the
Okay.
little ones, like the small ones that you have to throw back. They
Oh, yeah.
kept
He
it. They
said
took
you
about
can't keep them unless they're certain.
yeah, you
like,
can't keep them, but they kept a few of them on the boat, and then for
You get in
breakfast,
trouble
then
for
they'd
that?
scream. If
Probably get in
the
trouble.
yeah, if fisheries
catch
and
you.
wildlife catch you, yeah, if
Yeah.
they catch you, um, but they made scrambled for everyone on the boat. They'd make scrambled eggs and lobster.
Oh
with
yeah,
that was,
lobster
like,
and
fresh.
eggs. That's so good, bro.
And the lobster was like 30 minutes, fresh.
Dude,
That's so
spaghetti
good.
and lobster is good too.
Oh, yum. Now
Lobster mac and
Tommy,
cheese.
Tommy, and everybody else, if you want to see some other cool like
All that
photos
shit's
and
good.
videos and shit like that, there, especially of Maine and shit. Check out the Down East Cowboy. Kelly
Oh,
Hinkle
okay.
is the name of the channel. Yeah.
Jeff, I'll be back, bro. I gotta take care of something. I'll be back, man.
Oh
Guys, be
yeah,
back.
sure.
These
We'll
cows.
see.
Nice.
I think
All
I
right,
think
check
he
it out.
has I think he has it under Kelly Hinkle, which is the channel name, but his handle's the Down East Cowboy, like on Facebook and shit like that. He's an author and all that. Like he writes children's books. I went to high school with him. It's kind of cool. See, I talk to him all the time. Tell him it's cool to see. He was on the Squid Games. The Squid Games there on Netflix. He was on that.
I love that show.
Yeah,
That's so good.
Which one?
the Squid Games there on
Squid
Netflix.
Game.
Oh, I haven't seen. How
He
is
said
it?
it's
Korean
Is
so
it?
thing.
fucking.
I've
He
been
said it's staged.
I don't like things that are too disturbing.
He couldn't really go into too much detail, but he said that a lot of shit staged. He knew he was going. He said he knew he was going home, even before he even started filming. So
Oh.
Well, it was entirely fictional, right? The thing I saw where people are getting killed in this like game.
Oh, the movie.
Was it a
What was
movie
it?
or a,
Well, they had a
Someone-
movie called Squid Games, but then they made a reality show. I
Oh,
think.
dude,
Yeah.
that was on Netflix
Yeah, Netflix did it like
with the
an
pink
American
uniforms.
Version. Did an American
What was that about,
version of it.
guys?
They didn't do it like the Korean game. That
The
was
end
like
of the world,
That's
right?
what I'm thinking of, the Korean
Kind of like
thing.
Hunger Games.
Nah,
It was like
just a-
Korean. It
nah,
was made in Korea. They were all
Yeah.
Chinese
just-
people.
It was just a game where
In Korea.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Uh,
in Korea.
I don't. I mean, I don't know.
No, I don't know either. I don't.
I don't know.
think we're talking
Might
about
not
different
be in
shows.
Korea, I don't know.
I didn't watch the movie. I just saw a preview of it. I was curious about it. That's why I'm asking. Like, was it even good? It's a series,
Yes.
isn't it? It's not a movie. It's a series.
Yeah, it's a series.
It's a
It was
series,
a limited,
yeah.
like 8 episodes. Yeah.
And is that
Like a
all? Just
limited
8?
run.
That's it.
Yeah, I think so.
They didn't have like 3 seasons,
no,
more seasons.
No, just no.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I heard it was like mad popular. Like
It was good.
it was one of the most popular things on Netflix for a while.
Yeah.
So I should probably watch it. I'll probably like
It's
it.
kind of like Survive. Think about Survivor, but if you
Oh,
lose a challenge,
Jeff would love
you're getting
that.
killed. You're getting killed.
Survivor, but instead you get whacked at the end.
Yeah, with machine guns or deadly like traps and things.
See, Vinny, you could have had the food and beverage.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still in chat. I know I haven't watched Squid Games. I don't know why, but I haven't.
I kind of watched it, but I really
I probably
haven't.
should watch it. Now I'm definitely gonna watch it. I really like that Motley Crue movie, though, dude. I just watched it today.
That
and
wasn't
I'm
a
like, oh
bad
hell
movie.
yeah, bro.
That wasn't a bad movie.
It was alright. Like I guess it could have been a little better, but it was good for Netflix because it's like a Netflix movie. Like I don't think that's like should be as good as like a studio movie. Like I don't know. Maybe it should. They seem like B movies, Netflix movies.
It seems like a lot of movies now have all the same like plot. You know what I mean? It's the same plot, just wrote out differently.
I just liked they told the story pretty well as far as Motley Crue is concerned because they still they're still playing shows now, but they're not all together. The original members. I think 2015 was the last time all the original members played.
No,
together.
I think they do it. I think I just.
Are they
heard
all
on-
together now? Still?
I think I just.
I thought one of them
heard-
died. I thought Mick, the guitar
No.
player, died.
No, I'm pretty sure they're doing.
Oh, I
just
saw a
heard
concert on
XM,
YouTube.
Right, I just heard on the XM radio they're doing a. the strip tour. They're going to like
Oh,
the where they started out there.
where they
Like
started out on the Sunset Strip.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
going to all them
dope,
places.
man. That's pretty
Yeah,
freaking dope.
yeah.
Yeah, I like Molly. I like all
The
that music.
whiskey room,
I like all
or
metal
whiskey,
music.
whatever.
And they were
Like
like the
no,
start of like
yeah.
metal, I
Well,
think.
hair metal.
Somewhat
No,
metal.
they were like hair metal.
They
They
were
did
they
change
were
it.
yeah, they were like a hair metal band and what do they call it? I forget what the other type of name it. Pantera was like that when they first started with the costumes and shit, looking like a chick. Yeah. I still like them though, man. Still got good music. Still got good tunes. Good guitar work. I'm going to see Corn
I
on
never
Friday.
realized
I can't wait for that.
until like fuck, it was a couple years ago. I didn't realize that Steven Van Zant, the musician, was Van Zant in The Sopranos.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't realize that at
Bruce
first,
Springsteen.
and
Yep.
I was like, no shit, dude.
Yeah.
Dude. He wrote a lot of fucking music for a lot of
Dude, he's a
people.
great artist. He was
Yeah,
part of his band his whole time. He toured with him the entire time, his whole career. So he's a legit
HBO
rock star. A legit
HBO
rock
actually
star.
has a pretty good documentary out on him. I've watched half of it
I didn't
now.
watch it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just came
he's
out.
pretty
Hey
cool,
guys,
man.
I'm gonna drop down. I've got to get dinner started.
All right, later, Wombat.
Yeah,
I
See you,
have
Leggy.
to watch that.
See you, Tommy. See you, Jeff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Oh, I just got back. What's going on?
And then they got an in-depth with the writer of The Sopranos. They got an in-depth like documentary on him, like 3-part series, to like an hour and a half a piece. Wasn't too bad.
What happened? Did he rage quit?
No?
Corn. I can't wait to see them on Friday. Oh, I'm so psyched.
Oh, you're going to see Korn? That's what's
Going to
up.
see Corn.
Dude, that was like, I think Korn was really like the first like,
New metal.
yeah, like band
They
that
invented
really
new
like,
metal, in my
like that
opinion.
was like the heaviest shit I was into for the longest
Dude,
time.
they were
'Cause, like I
so
grew up, because
good.
my dad always listened to like all the classic rock and shit.
Yeah.
So like I grew up with fucking the Steely Dans and fucking Tom Petty, fucking
Corn didn't get popular till the 90s. 90s band. Like with Nirvana, like Corn, Nirvana,
yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins. That like I listened to all those bands. I went to all their concerts. You know, that was the type of music I was really into growing up.
And
I didn't
then
really get
like,
into rap until like Biggie and Pac got big. You know.
well, I can remember. So rap wise, I was young, started getting into it, and a friend of my dad's, he had a son that was quite a bit older than me, and he was like, "Well, go in there and see what he has," and then that's where he introduced me to like Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to
Uh,
love going to the CD stores and buying CDs and just
Yeah,
when
and the
new
UCD
albums came out,
stores.
I used to really look forward to new albums and
Hmm.
yeah, dude, I
you
miss
know.
going to like the store and putting on the headphones and checking out the albums and stuff
Yeah, I
like
used
that.
to love that. Yep.
Yeah,
The
it's
Wall, they had the
annoying.
Wall. They were like everywhere.
There was a whole culture around music back then.
Oh yeah, dude, MTV, dude. It was I miss those days, bro. I really
Yeah,
do. It's different now. It's
it
way
is.
different.
Music's just music. It's not like a
But
lifestyle
to
like
be
it
honest,
was.
I still listen to all the stuff I listened to as a kid. Like I
Oh,
go
that's
back
all I
and listen
listen
to
to,
that. I
pretty
don't listen
much.
to a lot of new stuff, you know, unless like Eminem comes out with an album or
Dad
things
rock
like
all the way.
that. Yeah,
It is hard to get out of them old habits to
it's
listen to new
hard,
shit.
man. I love my old bands,
Like
but a
They
lot of the,
me,
made
like
us who we are.
a
I
lot of
listen
the
to pretty
bands
much.
I listen to are still touring. Like Korn still touring, Slipknot still
Hmm.
touring. They're still touring, all of them. You can still go watch them.
Yeah,
Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses is touring.
yeah,
Coming to a
but
They're
Vegas
all over
no,
casino, dude.
let's
YouTube
be
right
real
now. Have
though.
you seen all the shorts
Let's
of
be real
Axl?
though. It's Axl Rose, but it's
His
not
voice
Axl
is
Rose.
gone. I know it's not there anymore. But
Dude, when I was in high school, we had a friend of
yeah,
mine. He was right obsessed with fucking them. And this is when they started coming back, and they had the weird fucking guy that was trying to imitate Slash. You know what
Who
I
you
mean?
talking about? Guns N' Roses? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the
Okay.
fuck
Okay.
was his name? What the hell
I
was
don't
his name?
know. The guitar player though.
Axel.
Yeah.
There was Slash was the guitar player, and Axel Rose was
Yeah,
Axel
the
was
but
the lead
singer.
singer.
Slash though, after he
Ziggy
left
was
the
the
band,
bassist. I
when
think.
he when they come back, right? When Guns N' Roses come back in the early 2000s and shit, it was some weird
Oh, I
fucking
didn't even
guy.
know.
It wasn't Slash.
Was he filling in for Slash? Is that what happened?
Well, Slash had left the band,
Oh, okay. Okay.
so
I didn't
I don't.
remember that. I didn't. I
Yeah,
wasn't. I wasn't a
just
huge Guns N' Roses fan.
because the guy like fucking had the hat, wore like the weird hat, kind of like what Slash did and shit. So like for a long time, I don't think anybody realized it. Like if you were young and didn't like pay attention to
Yeah,
shit
they
like
probably
that,
didn't even realize it
and you
wasn't
were just into
Slash.
like the fucking music and shit. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, we never. I just listened to the music, and every once in a while, whatever they played on MTV. You know what I mean? I didn't get fucking concerts and shit. They didn't start
I
having
saw them
concerts.
in 2016 actually, and they were pretty good. Axel had long hair back then. Still, his hair is shorter now, but it was
Yeah.
long then. And they played a pretty good show. They Lincoln Financial Field where the Eagles play. They played the whole stadium. It's a stadium concert. It was pretty cool. You know, they rocked. I mean, but again, they're old, but it was still good.
Yeah. I mean, I
I don't
guess
think
it's
they
all about.
have poor Karens. I think.
Poor Karens. I don't think you can be a Karen if you're poor.
Yeah, I don't think you can either. I think there's
Like
a certain
being
income
stuck
level
up and rich is
Dude,
like.
you
I
have
seen
to
this
be before you
band.
could qualify as a Karen. And if you think Bellevue's bad, Mercer Island is even worse. Um,
I haven't been there.
those are the mega. That's how they keep the mega Karens. It's this
Mega
little
Karen.
community in Seattle. It's kind of on an island, so it's isolated, so it can be kind of. Um,
Nova gets called a Karen by her daughter. Oh, Nova,
that
tell me
means. Oh, I
about it.
could tell you what that means. How old is your daughter? You're nagging her.
Yeah, stop
Let her
nagging.
live her own life.
Yeah,
Quit trying to be a
yeah.
control freak.
I
My daughter likes to tell me, "Dad,
are
chill.
you
It's not
nagging,
that deep."
Nova?
That's what she'll tell me. Chill,
Are
Dad.
you a
It's not that deep.
nagger?
What does she tell you, Leggy?
Chill. It's not that deep.
Oh.
She's my
Okay, Angel.
How old is your daughter? High school?
She's 24. That makes
13. She's
perfect
13.
sense.
Oh my God! Yeah, you probably are being a carrot. If she's
You're
24,
nagging
I'm just,
her.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
Stop
moms
being a
have it because
Karen,
moms
Nova.
moms trying to be just a mom trying to be a mom
Well,
It
it's
could be
is
like
gonna get
Karenish.
taken as Karen.
she
Karenish
said,
facts.
well,
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
really
cap,
no way to
right?
win if
She'd
you're
be
a
like,
mom.
Dad, you're capping. I'm like, what?
I'm
I
dead.
go, what the fuck do you mean I'm capping? I go, I ain't capping. What are you fuck talking about? I go, I ain't got no
She said
fucking
it's the
guns on me.
other way around.
And
Okay, Nova.
I'm just like,
If you say so.
so then she had to explain to me what the fuck it was. I go,
I'll
oh.
take your word for it, Nova. Either way, I mean, whatever way it is, if she's nagging you or you're nagging
There's
her,
some
it's
projection
gonna
going
seem
on in somewhere.
Karenish. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, oh, that was probably awesome, internet god. 1991 was like their prime, dude. That was right after Appetite for Destruction, right
Yeah,
before
because they
Use
were
Your
like right in
Illusion.
the lead up to Nirvana. They were like 87, 88, 89, and then Nirvana busted out in 91.
Yeah, Nirvana was freaking awesome, man.
They were alright.
I loved Nirvana when they came out. I had a band and I tried to be just like Kurt Cobain.
Well, he was trying to be just like Pixies and
Yeah,
Sonic
everybody's
Youth.
trying to be like. Everybody gets their musical influences, of course. That's true.
That's a main accent, I think.
I wonder how far Nirvana could have went, or what albums could have came out, or what would have happened
I
if
don't
he never
know.
killed
Even
himself.
after Nevermind, they seem to be flagging a bit. I don't know how.
Yeah,
They might have just been like a one album
a lot of
trend.
drugs, man. Kurt was doing a lot of drugs.
I hated it because every band after them, even the ones I like,
They
all
tried
start
to
to try to
imitate.
sound like Nirvana. Yeah,
They
like
tried
they
to.
dominated the sound for a
There was a
couple of
lot of that.
years.
A lot of that grunge. They inspired the grunge era. I feel like a little bit.
Grunge was the tail end. It wasn't anything new. It was the tail end of the
Remember Bush? They had
thrasher,
Bush.
hardcore, alternative indie movement.
Alternative, yeah, yeah.
And Nirvana came at the tail end of that, but that's when it broke into the mainstream.
Yeah, wasn't in the mainstream before that. It doesn't seem like.
No, it was like Henry Rollins, SST. It was the DC
Yeah,
hardcore scene. It was Sonic Youth,
yeah,
Dinosaur Jr., Pixies, all those bands, and that's the bands Nirvana was listening to, the same music that we were all listening to. And then he put his band together and popularized it.
yeah,
But the style was a very late development of music that these bands were pioneering.
yeah, yeah. It was crazy how that all came about. With the that era of music with Bush. You had Bush. You had Pearl Jam. You had a lot of bands, man.
Yeah, Pearl
Did you
Jam.
ever hear of NoFX? Punk
Yeah,
rock band.
I
Did they?
think
Do you think
they.
they broke into mainstream? Do you think they made it to mainstream?
No, I'll tell you why.
No,
Because I think I saw them,
and they
or they
should
played
have.
at a club. So if they were anywhere near my life, they could not have been too mainstream.
Yeah, because I was in clubs too, just like smaller clubs watching these
Were they
bands. Like
British or American?
I don't remember, but I did
Um,
see him in Philly a bunch of times in the early '90s.
NOFX LA.
Yeah, no
Yeah, no,
FX.
I think I had one of their
I seen Green Day during the
albums.
Dookie tour. That was like
Oh,
the
I
first
forgot all
punk
about
rock
Green
band to
Day.
really go mainstream.
That was like the Madonna of
Yeah,
punk. That was completely
people
for
thought they
popular
sold out.
consumption.
They thought they sold out. Green Day because they were supposed to be punk rock, anti-system, and then the same thing with Rage Against the Machine. Rage is preaching against the machine while getting paid by the
Yeah,
machine.
now they are the
So
machine.
it's like, what the hell's going on here?
All of them were. They were all bring down the machine,
You couldn't be in
and now they
mainstream.
are the machine.
Yeah, like you couldn't get your music. I mean, you can get your music heard, but not by the world unless you were in mainstream. There was no internet back then.
Right.
So they had to go mainstream unless they were, now you
Radio
don't have to do
stations
that.
and record stores.
You could just put your stuff on the internet now.
I
It's just a
know. That's
different
why
world.
music's changed. Like music as a cultural force, I think has changed now
We'll
because
never
it's
get
so
it back to where it
accessible.
was.
Mm-mm.
Like '90s was a great era for music, in my opinion. Even '80s was all that
Oh,
time.
yeah, all late set. Well, me
'70s,
all the way back to the '60s, but like classic rock. But late '70s, early '80s, and then late '80s, early '90s as well.
yeah, that's all great music, man. Great
Yeah,
bands.
yeah. This generation, no wonder they're so messed up. They're not gonna have anything like that. Poor
They
things.
got
I don't
no
know
good music.
what art is
The
making them.
music's crazy now. It's wild.
I have not listened to Northern Soul yet, but I would love. We should do a dance lesson party thing. I'm a horrible dance. I have dyspraxia, and I'm white boy, and I'm autistic. Dancing is where my whiteness shows. I am definitely white when it comes to dancing, but I will still try. I love to try and pretend to dance. So, in fact, we've had panel dances before. We could do another one.
Oh,
It's
that would
just
be
getting
fun.
like non-copyrighted music, but this guy DJ'd one day. He had some music, and we all danced on panel for hours. It was fun. You were a disco queen. Oh, good. That makes me feel warmly toward you just a little bit by that much. And okay, you're moving up. Damn it, we're gonna be neighbors, if not best friends, pretty soon.
It's hard to have dance parties because you can't play any music on the streams without
I
getting a
know.
copyright hit. So
Jesse
it's
did
like,
it. A missing link. Jesse did it.
how are you supposed to
They
do
used to
it?
do it. It was the high vibe love tribe, and like every Sunday, they would open a little panel, and he had some tunes he would spin, and
Non-copyright.
yeah, it was all non-copyright,
There you
and
go.
he had hours of it, so he could keep it going for hours.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, you'd have to play like that kind of music if you were gonna do it.
But it was fun. It's like I said, the secret is just getting the music, because we used to do Zoom dances all the time, but none of that was broadcast, so you could play whatever songs you wanted.
Yeah, they were all private, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll tell you my line dance experience from Ronnie Millsap, the Freeze, and they used to have this
Free.
little hole in the wall convenience store on the highway with a jukebox, and this old lady that used to run it, and my friend worked there, and I would go hang out and visit him, and he would teach me the freeze in between customers off of this jukebox. And then when I went to the gay bars, they would play it, and that's the one line dance I knew how to do. And then they added the not the electric. There was one other that came before the electric slide that had like one or two extra steps, and that's where they lost me. And then when the
The
electric
hokey
slide came
pokey.
out, that was way over my head, and I had to sit on the side and watch everybody else do electric slide. I have not gone to a concert there, but I did some hiking out there, and I love that area. The gorge, ancient lakes. I forgot the other
The
place we went.
gorge.
It's very like a Southwest or Great Basin type territory, and I love that landscape.
The time
Oh my
warp.
God, we used to do
What's
that rock
that?
at the school I went to. We did dances on the weekends, and Rock Lobster and Time Warp were like two of the classics. And I remember that we'd all
Time
start
warp.
doing the dance on the dance floor.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know how if the new generation is not getting Schoolhouse Rock, which apparently they're not, at least make sure they get Time Warp. Somebody pass on the Time Warp to this next generation, please. They are going to need it.
They need it. They need something good. They really do. Oh, the Thriller.
Oh,
Don't even
yeah, the
start with
zombie, like
Thriller.
the big 15-minute long
That was like
zombie
the best
video.
video.
That's when, because MTV
Great
had just,
video.
it was only around a couple of years, and people were putting out these, that's when they were pioneering the art form. Michael Jackson's
Yeah,
like, I'll show you a music video, step aside.
that was freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about
That's one of
Thriller.
the best videos.
And it's so cheesy looking back as an adult, but my God, did it define a generation.
Yeah,
Everybody was into that shit.
that was a good song too, man.
Yes, you're right. You are making a good case for yourself. You need to let your daughter know that. See, that's another thing. If you give her the time warp, you could hold it over her too.
Do the time warp.
Of course, people say that that's one of the start of all the
Funny, I don't
gender
think I ever
stuff
heard
too,
of the time warp.
from Rocky Horror.
Nope, never heard of it.
Oh, it's the dance. They have the Transylvania. They have well, you know, it's the transvestite doctor Tim Curry. So he's a transvestite, and all his the people that live in his castle, whoever they are, like the NPCs, are all these weird gender mixed, blue-haired gender people, and they're called the Transylvanians.
Oh
And they
wow.
all do this like group dance number together, called the Time Warp.
Oh yeah, Billie Jean. Great song.
Yeah,
Classic song.
Michael
Yeah.
Jackson, I think, defined
Just talking about the
that part
video
of the
right now.
'80s.
Yeah, it was a good video. He
Michael
did the
Jackson
coin
and
flip in the beginning, and then yeah, that was a cool video.
yeah, we used to watch it on Friday night videos because we didn't have
Yeah.
MTV. That's what the poor kids used. You'd, you'd get a certain selection of videos for a couple of hours on a Friday night, maybe an hour.
Yeah, I gotta take a phone call. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'll stay here and talk about music. I went to a Sound of Music. Wait, what? I bet I can. I bet I can guess their skin color. Of course, the Sound of Music gives it away. You know, I never watched that growing up. It was on TV. Other people might have watched it. It was so boring. Anything white. I guess that's my own biases. Shows like Newhart, Rhoda, Mary Tyler Moore, Ed Asner, was that a Lou Grant? I would sit there and I would just stare at the TV and try to figure out why people were laughing. They had laugh tracks. What was funny about it? What the people were even talking. It was an alien culture. I could not decode the white TV shows at all. And then the soap operas during the day, where they'd be at like the fancy restaurant at the country club, and all the characters would be at the same restaurant. They'd run into each other and have drama. It was like the Panelverse, except in a restaurant and rich white people. I did not understand what I was looking at. It was a world that was so alien to anything around me. And I never like I watched the black sitcoms. I watched What's Happening, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Good Times, Chico and the Man, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. That was relatable. When I turned on Different Strokes was kind of a mix because you had Arnold and Willis, but they were living a rich white life. So I think it's more culture than race because even as somebody with white skin, it was a very alien and alienating culture to me. Even shows like Dallas and Knots Landing and all that. I had people in my family that watched them, and I remember Who Shot Jr. All of that, but I didn't know. It was the same with watching Star Trek. The characters were so nobody talked and acted like that in real life. I didn't know what I was looking at. It was so foreign to me. But then I could watch a show like Batman with Adam West and Robin. Was it Burt Ward? And it was completely normal. So who could explain the child brain? I the characters were so I cannot get past that they're so stiff and wooden. Like these are people that live together. Like you think they like on the real world, you put them in a house together, they're gonna have drama, and at some point they're gonna relax and start interacting in a normal way, like we do in the Panoverse. But no, everybody on Star Trek talks in this really formal way. Captain, could you come up to the bridge and do this thing here with the transponder? And I'm like, people don't talk and act like that. It's there's something artificial about it, and I couldn't get past that as a kid. It was the characterization. Oh, Liliana, are you going live? That might work out because then I could take a little break here and come back later tonight. Here's Liliana's channel. Oh, okay, I didn't get into Fresh Prince at all. I was definitely a Cosby, Bill Cosby, and 227. Cosby Show 227, and then they had A Different World and Amen. All of those. But Cosby Show was definitely because I was older when Cosby came out. I was like in well, I'll tell you what I think it was 85, maybe 84. I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school when the Cosby Show came out. And then we had Golden Girls, and shortly after we had Designing Women, and those were like the big sitcoms of my high school years as a gay and as just somebody from the 80s. The Cosby Show absolutely probably defined the 80s in the same way that I'd say a show like Roseanne defined the 90s. I never got. Okay, Cheers is a perfect example of one of those white people shows that I have no idea what I'm watching. I don't understand the humor. None of the jokes are funny. I don't understand the interaction, like the code between them, like just the ways, the little ways they have of like the little in-group ways of interacting. This is me watching Cheers. It's me watching South Park too. I don't know what I'm looking at. So there's definitely a cultural barrier. So if people tell me like black people have difficulty relating to shows like Cheers and Dallas and Soap and Mary Tyler Moore, that I understand, but I don't think that's racism, and I don't think we need $1 billion DEI bureaucracy industry to solve it. But stuff like that I understand, like cultural alienation. But I could still work. Well, maybe I can't work with a workplace full of white people. Actually, the workplaces up here that I've been in have been more or less diverse. I'd say they're very gender skewed gender wise to female just because it's a female dominated industry. The mental health and social services field up here in Washington State skews heavily female, staff wise. But culture wise, I'd say it's pretty diverse as Washington State can be. And believe it or not, I don't know if y'all know this, but Seattle, there's a zip code in Seattle, in Columbia City, which is one of our neighborhoods. And there are more languages spoken in that zip code than anywhere in the United States. It has the most linguistic diversity in that one zip code than anywhere in the U.S. So Seattle has that, believe it or not, because that, and I'll tell you why, because they segregate all their black people. If you have brown skin, whatever shade on the Sherwin-Williams Pate scale, they put them all in one section. I have never been in a more segregated city in my life. When I moved to Seattle, the first few weeks I was here, I was in a suburban neighborhood in North Seattle, which was very white. It was 2 weeks before I saw my first black person. There was a black lady at the grocery store. She looked like Whoopi Goldberg. She had braids. She had glasses. And I followed her around. I was so excited to see a black person. I remember just like following her through the aisles, just like so excited to be in the presence of a black person because I didn't realize how much. I'm from the South, and when I don't see black people, too many black people for a while, that's something that makes people from the South nervous or can. But one thing I noticed when I came, but the ex said, I asked him about the black people, and he's like, "Oh, if you want to see black people, you have to go to Beacon Hill or whatever neighborhood he named." And I'm like, "What? They keep them all in one neighborhood?" And he said, "Yeah, they have their own neighborhood here." And he's right. Like there's an entire section of Seattle where all the non-white people live, and they have their own culture and neighborhoods, and then everywhere else is predominantly white. Like you might not see a black person for days in some of these neighborhoods. And in where I come from, it's all mixed. Vegas, New Orleans, Louisiana. I mean, you'll still have your predominantly black areas or white areas, but it's not as like starkly segregated. Especially the white areas. You see the black people shop at the same stores, the same Walmart, the same restaurants, the same mall. We mingle, so it's not as when you're out in public. It's not as, what do they call it? Racially monotonous. Norman Rockwell. It's not as Norman Rockwell as it is up here. Yeah, I love the International District. Actually, that's our Chinatown or Asian town. What's that big store called? Wujimaya? That it's an enormous. It's like a Asian Costco, and they have like a little food court where you could get all this good Asian. It's like a buffet. You just point to what you want, and they pile it on your plate, and then you pay for it. Yeah, Rainier Valley. That's I used to work in that area, and it was very diverse. Of course, I took public transportation in Seattle, which is always diverse. Yeah, you. I could never pronounce. You Uwajima, Ujimaya. I call it Ujimaya. Ujimaya. Don't don't make me give offense and lose my channel. All right, I think Liliana might be starting a stream soon or later tonight. I know Kane went live last night. I caught some of that. Kane, you're doing a great job. Wajimaya. Wajimaya. It's spelled like this. Wajawama. Yeah, I think I struggle with British people. Like I think British people don't even know how to talk, much less all these other languages. Can you see why I stay my ass here in America and don't attempt another country? It's hard enough coming from Louisiana to the rest of America. I dare not try it at any scale larger than that. Weird, but then they would say we're weird. capital WEIRD. Western educated. What does weird stand for? The weird people. Western educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. What I don't think people realize is there's also, not everybody is the R. Many people are Western educated, industrialized, and democratic. I think a lot of the weirdness might be coming from that R. All right, I think I will wrap up. I got my dinner here, and I'll probably be out again tonight. So, thanks for hanging out. I think it was fun, good stream, and I appreciate everybody making this place what it is, a place where we can hang out and have conversations about racism, or lobsters, or anything else. And thank you for continuing to keep it that kind of space. I facilitate, but the end result would not happen without all of you. And so I really appreciate it, and I look forward to coming out again later and doing this some more. So take care for now, and I'll see you then. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care. Check out Liliana. She might be streaming later. And or maybe who else? Yeah, that's about it. All right, see you later. Bye.